morning and welcome. My name is Jackie Ransom and I am the Worship Associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County. As you have heard, we start our service each week by singing an invitation to gather together, even as we are scattered in many different places, and whether our sacred space be virtual or live. Oh boy, now I wish to express my gratitude to those supporting technology this morning, Corey, Tom, and Sue, Bobby, the building and grounds team, and all others who make this physical space a joy to behold. We also honor Jim Royal, our music director, who is here in the sanctuary this morning to share his musical creations, and Linda and members of the UUFCC choir for this morning's recorded music. To our membership committee and their team of greeters. This service is being broadcast live on YouTube, and once again will be shared live on Zoom on a universal link and be followed by virtual social time. The YouTube recording will also be available on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. Your patience will be appreciated as there's a slight delay to close down the YouTube connection. I'd like to remind you of a couple simple procedures that will help our service and broadcast run smoothly. This would be a good time to put your phones on meditation mode. I don't have my phone here, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's see. For those who are with us virtually, you may wish to have a chalice or candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. For those in the sanctuary, although our risks are less, the virus is still here and we need to be vigilant and flexible. If you're like me and wish to hum along or sing softly with the music, please make sure your mask is on. Okay, here we go. When the service is over, those who need a smooth surface to exit the building, feel free to exit out the double doors in the back. Please enjoy the patio for our social time. Coffee will be available through our weekly volunteers. You can sign up on the bulletin board in the social hall to help out. Whatever your faith or the country of your heritage, you are welcome here. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. And whether you entered on little feet or walked in briskly or ambled or rolled in, you are welcome here. Whether you are relatively new to our community or have been an active member for decades, you are welcome here. We are glad you chose this congregation as your place of worship today. If you are new here, please stand in body or spirit and wave to us. Anybody new? Oh, hi. Can we have your name, please?
Penny Lowry.
Penny, welcome, welcome. Yay. If you are new at home and would like to learn more about our fellowship, you can email Mary Jane at office@uufc.org or visit our website at uufcc.org. And wherever you are, we're glad you have chosen to spend your time with us this morning. Today we will be joined by Hal Trejo, the co-founder of ARAY, All Rainbow and Allied Youth. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's cool. So long as you don't call us late for dinner, we're good.
I'll try not to. We will now open the sacred space by turning our attention to the chalice through words by Linda Lee Franson called The Pride Flame. Linda is a writer and editor who lives in California with a horse, a goat, and her best dog friend Daisy. As a member of the Palomar UU Fellowship, she serves as a worship associate and the fellowship librarian. We light this flame to ignite our hearts and minds. the spark of knowledge that enlightens, the shimmering hope that burns, the blazing light that engulfs our actions, the bonfire of our commitment. We light this flame for those who celebrate themselves, who fear, who hope, who persevere. We stand on the side of love for all. We light this flame for those who have been ridiculed, that they may find peace. For those who fought to marry, that they may celebrate. For those who live uncertainty in this world, that they may have hope. We light this flame to renew our commitment that no one shall ever again suffer for the right to love. We light this flame to celebrate our kaleidoscope of diversity, working, loving, and living on the side of love. For this, we light this flame. Now, while Alan will light our chalice here in the sanctuary, please join me in reciting our words of affirmation. Shortly then, after that, we'll light the chalices at home. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Now I invite you to light your home chalices. Okay, now, Jim, we get to celebrate our music director who will share Allegro by William F. Bach. Wow. Thank you, Jim. Our opening words today are by Sharon Wiley, who is a UU minister from California who has also worked as a hospital chaplain and a blogger. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you, every part of you, beautiful, just the way you are. Here you do not need to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding. No exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or the person sitting next to you or the children or to anyone. You don't have to try and be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. This is the part that really gets me. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your face, your limbs, all beautiful just the way they are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together. Now we're going to have recorded music by the Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation. It's number 105 in the Teal Hymnal, and it's How Could Anyone? The music and words are by Libby Roderick.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
I love that song. Wow, it's so cool. Okay, the Book of Life. We have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them into the Book of Life. These messages can be written in the red book at the back of the sanctuary. Helen, will you please bring up the Book of Life for me? Those at home are welcome to email your entries to bookoflife@uufcc.org. Thank you so much, Helen. Messages should be sent no later than the Saturday prior to the service. All entries will be read by the worship associate on Sunday morning. After that, email messages will be entered into the actual red book. After I've completed reading, we will enter into a moment of silence, followed by our hymn, Spirit of Life. Okay. Oh, dear. Excuse me while I find my sheet. Oh, I lost my sheet. Okay. Well, okay, Joys and Sorrows. This is a big, big, big joy by Mary Howard. Oh, I am so thrilled. After several procedures to remove a malignant lesion from my eyelid, I am now cancer-free. This is just like, yay! Woohoo! Reconstructive surgery to repair my eyelids surpassed expectations, and the remaining sutures were removed on Tuesday. Yahoo! Oh boy, we are extremely happy to have the young lady here, ARAY group, sharing our space periodically for events throughout the year. We also celebrate the joyful selection, and this is so cool, of our first Black female Supreme Court judge. Okay, we will have a brief silence and then we will have music for Spirit of Life. To a few people. I forgot to read a few things from the Red Book. I'm kind of new at this agreeing and I missed it and I am so sorry. So, for April 10th, Martha and Norma are celebrating their 47th wedding anniversary. Whoa! Congratulations! And Florence and Dave are saying goodbye until next November so they can stay, everybody stay well. We hope you stay well and we love you and take care and safe journeys. Okay. Whew, I am so sorry again. It's like, okay. Are we ready? Okay. Oh, I am delighted to introduce Hal Trejo. They is a co-founder of All Rainbow and Allied Youth, Charlotte County's only LGBTQ plus youth organization. They are transgender activists dedicated to increasing the justice for everyone who faces oppression and committed to growing inclusion in Charlotte County. Please welcome Hal.
Wow, it's been a long time since I've stood up here, folks. I I'm going off script, so that's not good. But, you know, I just continue to be so touched and grateful that we have the strength and power in our community of this wonderful fellowship. You know, I'm not a person of faith myself, but you all exemplify what faith is and should be, and the commitment and action that it carries with it. And I just am so grateful for you welcoming myself and ARAY into this space to speak today. So, these last few years have been pretty long. And, you know, I personally, I think I had a reckoning the past few years. And, you know, I don't mean just baking sourdough bread and crocheting, though I did pick up crocheting. And if anybody here can tell me why my blankets, when they're supposed to be square, keep becoming triangles, that would be really helpful. Thank you. Come grab me afterwards. Thank you. You know, I've had the fortune to speak with many of you before, so I'm going to kind of skip our normal ARAY spiel and introduction. But I want to talk to you about the story of ARAY and the story of queer justice and queer love over the past few years. The story of ARAY is a story of what I've aspired to in many parts of my life. I know what it feels like to feel alone in a crowd. I know what it is to feel different and to be told why that's wrong. I hoped and imagined a place where people could feel safe, where they could heal, where they could find others and see that difference was a fact of life and not a rejection of it. I was very fortunate to meet many people, including many of you here, who held similar hopes in their hearts, who were proud to come together for something that we couldn't even fully envision at the time. Now, 5 years into ARAY, I've learned enough to know that I don't know anything, other than that the power of people is massive and raw and everything. I saw this power in action yesterday when the fellowship so graciously allowed ARAY the space for our first youth drop-in since the pandemic started. We had 2 new young people come, and they both talked about how nervous they were coming for the first time. I think we've all entered a new space, maybe the fellowship here, and felt that nervousness. Didn't know how you were going to fit in. Didn't know how other people were going to think of you. And it doesn't matter whether you're 14 or 104, you know. I think, unfortunately, it doesn't go away. If anybody can correct me, I would love to look forward to that. Still have that nervousness myself. But at the end of the day, these young people both said that they were so glad that they came, that they were able to laugh and make friends and create art. I also saw members of ARAY that I haven't seen in years, and they're all taller, and I don't like that. I wore heels today just because I'm not taking that from people I knew when they were 14. To be a part of ARAY and to know that we've built something strong enough to make it through something as terrible and scary as the pandemic is all that we could have hoped for. And that moment was powerful yesterday. Power runs in so many different ways, and it's not always towards justice. As we've seen in the increasing attacks on our community of LGBTQ+ people at the state level, the attacks on freedom of speech and the rights of LGBTQ+ students through the Don't Say Gay bill. These exemplify an upswell, not only in Florida and the attacks that we see in our home state, but across the nation. In a state where we know that nearly a quarter of high school students identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or unsure of their identity, and 1.7 identify as transgender, we know that bills and legislation like this already and will continue to do exceptional harm on our young people. To put those numbers into reality, in our home community of Charlotte County, that would be 3,800 students or more who are in need of our support right now, today. We also know that in Florida, LGBTQ+ high school students are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight counterparts, and this number is on the rise for the very first time in 8 years. The Don't Say Gay bill forbids teachers to teach anything regarding sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade. And it also puts restrictions on older grades as well. We're not sure exactly how that's going to come out, but there's this fear within both teachers and students and schools of what these restrictions are going to mean for erasing LGBTQ plus identity and diversity within our schools. Both the new young people I met yesterday shared that kindergarten through third grade was exactly the age when they were starting to learn about who they were, and already not knowing things like what gay meant, but they knew that they weren't straight, right? They knew that they weren't what was considered the average and what was considered the norm. And they had no information. These bills and this legislation restricts it even more. It makes it even harder to be able to discover yourself, and it makes it even clearer to young people that they're being told that they're wrong, that they don't exist, that they can't exist. There's even the risk that this law could be interpreted as requiring schools to out the identities of students to their parents, something that we know can be incredibly harmful and dangerous to young people, as well as increase their risks of becoming homeless. This tide of homophobia and transphobia isn't just at the state level, it's crashing close to home. Last year in Fort Myers, a document that codified protections for LGBTQ plus students in schools was removed by attacks from anti-LGBTQ activists in Fort Myers. And this year in Charlotte County, a teacher posted on social media that she would do anything to protect her LGBTQ students in the wake of the Don't Say Gay bill, and currently the school is investigating her. Among all of these attacks, all this hate, the power of the queer movement is one that is based on love and connection and community. It's based on a rejection of the normal and a celebration of the strange. We won marriage equality because we showed the world the power of queer love. We can save the lives of queer youth by putting into action the power of the queer movement. That we have power and strength and value through being alive and just being seen. We can protect those who face the deepest risks by saying that we're together, even if what unites us is belief and not identity, even if what unites you and me is not who we are, but who we love and our love of justice. I believe in people. I believe in one person being able to save another and being saved through that action. I believe that thousands of feet walking in lockstep can drum us into the future, one that we want to realize together. I believe in surviving. I believe in nourishment and growing fatter and stronger and taking up so much space that nobody can refuse to see us. I believe in sitting with the ugly and the complicated and the stories that don't make sense, in queer joy and queer love. Let me give you an example of all of that. It took me 2 years of crocheting triangles in quarantine and rewatching Star Trek to understand that I needed top surgery and to be able to afford it. I was really lucky on both of those counts, to be able to access it at such a young age in my life and to be able to know that that was the right choice for me. I remember the first time I put on a chest binder, which is a piece of clothing that flattens your chest, can give what some people might call a more masculine look. I was 20 years old. It came in the mail. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. I ripped open the Amazon package and I pulled it on. And it was hard to breathe because, like, literally it was compressing my lungs. But also because it was the first time I could see myself as I was. It was like when you've spent too long underwater and you've come up and you take that first breath and oh my God, it's delicious, it's the best air you've ever breathed. And I thought, that's pretty great. Maybe that was gonna be enough for me. Maybe that's what I needed. And I bound my chest during college, at parties, in the grocery store, when I walked our family dog. And it hurt. You know, it wasn't always easy to breathe. Getting dressed always felt like it was a battle between being myself and being in pain. It was a choice between two kinds of comfort, one that I didn't want to make for the rest of my life. It was hard to make sense of the contradiction of something that made me so happy and made me myself, but also made my back scream the next day. I stopped binding as much during quarantine. I wasn't going out and about, and Zoom pretty much only showed me from here up, so I was like, okay, I'll be good. I thought I'd be more comfortable, but I wasn't. I thought if I wasn't being called a girl by passerby because I wasn't passing by anyone, it wouldn't hurt so bad. As a non-binary person who uses they, them pronouns, I thought, well, if I'm not seeing anybody, then what's it matter? But it did matter. Even without strangers and acquaintances seeing and calling my body a woman's body, my chest didn't feel like my chest. This isn't to say that other trans folks have to feel similarly about their body to qualify as trans, but for me, the longer I spent in isolation, the more I knew what would make me happy. So I called a surgeon. I had my sister take notes because I knew I would be way too nervous to remember anything he told me. And I booked my surgery 6 months out for December 2021. My family can probably confirm that I talked about top surgery every single day after that. And they were very kind to listen. I prepared, I ate, I worked out, I met with my therapist, and I got a nutritionist because I knew that my health was number one and I wanted to be as good in a space mentally and physically to go into this huge change in my life. I watched videos and I read to get prepared, and as the day got closer, I got more and more anxious. There's this idea that to be trans, you have to feel like you were born in the wrong body, that there's one way to feel, that you're certain 100% of the time of who you are and what you want. Even across the LGBTQ plus community, there's this bizarre expectation of certainty, or your identity isn't real. For knee surgery, there's anywhere from 6 to 30% of patients who regret the procedure. And largely knee surgery is considered a fairly routine and safe operation, still scary. For gender-affirming surgeries, there's a 1% regret rate. That should, in my mind, that should be hailed as a medical miracle. Oh my God, how many surgeries out there that have such a low rate of regret? That's amazing. But the reality is that trans folks are put through ridiculous hurdles to prove that we deserve surgeries. From taking hormones as being a requirement to living in your identity for a predetermined amount of time to having a therapist or a doctor confirm that you really are trans. All the while confirming that we're absolutely 100% sure that we want it, we have no fears, and we're absolutely ready. I wouldn't be freaked out about surgery though. Oh my God. Dude, I couldn't sleep for days before surgery. I asked myself if I was doing the right thing. I heard every mean Facebook comment and every person who ever said trans people were sick and crazy and wrong. I knew I was doing the right thing. I felt sick to my stomach. I wouldn't have worn a binder consistently for years if this wasn't what I'd wanted. My heart raced as I changed into my hospital gown. And then I woke up. And it had gone okay. And I was okay. And I was more me than I'd ever been, and I was in love, and I hurt like hell, and I was lucky to be able to do it, and I am so, so happy. And this is something everyone should be able to have. That kind of love. The gentle kind of happy love I have when I feel my shirt feel right where it should drop. Queer love is precious. It's something that can be between people, but for me, it's between myself and me. My love is falling asleep with my hand on my chest. My love is something that has so much power, but we never talk about it. We talk about the hate and the risks and the violence. But for any of that to be defeated, we have to know what it means to love. Sometimes love is looking in the mirror and seeing yourself. Sometimes it's fighting for someone you love. Sometimes it's just existing in a world that wants to erase you, and sometimes it's feeling a seatbelt hit you where you've always known it should. We can't just talk about the attacks that marginalized communities face. Even the term marginalized makes it sound like all we can ever be is a charity case, when that couldn't be farther from the truth. Those in power work to marginalize us because they're afraid of the truth and the power that the world can learn from us. Talking about the joy of being queer is something that can change the world. I talk to so many parents of LGBTQ plus youth, and the first thing they say is how afraid they are for their child. That coming out as LGBTQ plus just paints a target on your back. And I understand that. The risks are real. The safety fear is absolutely there. But there's so much more. What so many people fail to see is that by being who you are, you save yourself and the world along with you. I can do this work because of the queer joy I've experienced. Because queer joy is something I want to give everybody the opportunity to have, in all of its contradictions and all of its complexities. We know that increasing queer joy is life-saving for LGBTQ plus people, whether we're talking about a friend or a binder or access to care, or just somebody that you can talk to that day. I believe that putting love into practice is the way that we can make our community so strong that nothing can ever hurt us. Queer people are so used to living with scarcity, with violence, with fear, but we can't let this be our only story. All of us here have a duty to create queer joy and love in our community. And I know there's so much love here. From the love that's shown by welcoming me into your space to the love in your openness to youth and new ideas. From the creation of a PFLAG group to support parents, grandparents, and allies of LGBTQ plus people, to the signs on your bathrooms, which, by the way, the kids yesterday were floored by. They were like, this is so cool. We're all in the practice of putting love into action. We're showing our love when we don't remain silent in the face of others' ignorance. We're showing our love when we give ourselves grace to learn more about what we don't understand. We're showing our love when we come together in community like we're doing today. Now, as a good nonprofit leader, I'm supposed to leave y'all with an ask. And all I can ask today is that you continue to challenge yourself and others, even when it's scary, and it often is. Commit yourself to learning about the things you're afraid to learn about. Spend time on Google or reading once a week. Put those questions in the search bar that you don't even really know how to say the right way. Make time for real rest. Rest that isn't waiting for your phone to go off or that you have to feel guilty for. If you don't rest like that, you can never do the work. Lastly, no matter whether you're queer or not, try to embrace all the complexities and contradictions of looking at the world through a lens of queer love and joy. I want to thank you all so much for welcoming me into your space today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we will have a musical presentation by Jim, and he's going to be playing Minuet by Joseph Haydn. You are just unbelievable. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, now we're doing the offering. In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of this fellowship. To this end, your offerings support the ministry of this fellowship, whether by pledge or donation, and may be offered online. This is the second Sunday of the month, at which time we take a second collection for a worthwhile cause. Today's second collection will continue to go to the 3 local food banks. The first set of baskets will be for our operating fund. The second will go for the food banks. There are several ways you get to give. One, you can drop your donation in the baskets that are being passed around by Stephanie and Robert. Or you can mail checks to the office, drop them in our mailbox, or call the office and make other arrangements. Or you can also be equipped to accept donations through the Venom app. Payments through this app should be made to UUFCC offering. Okay, Stephanie and Robert, please come forward. What can I say? Okay, now it's time to highlight UUFCC's special events and activities. Please remember to check your weekly Thank you, which includes a calendar and links for connecting via Zoom or in person. And Mary Jane does a fantastic job, I gotta tell you. Additionally, if you would like to have fellowship events highlighted during the service, you can email the worship associate at bookoflife@uufcc.org. Today I have the following announcements. Woo, okay. Next Saturday, April 16th, from 4 to 6 p.m., the meet and greet of school board candidates will be right here. This is such an important event for our community. Please show your support. Now, not to forget, Mary Jane's new office hours are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to noon. We are supporting the community by helping to organize a chapter of PFLAG, here at UUFCC. Did I say it right? For those of you who are not familiar, PFLAG stands for Parents, sometimes even Grandparents, Friends and Allies of LGBTQ plus people. This group has been working since 1973 to create a world where diversity is celebrated and all people are respected, valued, and affirmed. If you are interested, please contact Lori Douglas. And she's waving her hand. Hi, Lori. The next meeting of the Social Justice Committee will be hybrid and right after the service at 11:45 a.m. in the social hall. Or if you prefer, in the coziest room in your home. You take your choice, whatever. If you're doing Zoom, stay in the same link that you used to get to service. And let's see, we have another announcement. The class on Race, How It Affects the United States by Martha Burida is on April 21st from 1 to 2:30, and I think it's live in here. Am I correct? Yes. Okay, yay. Okay. Any other announcements? Okay, now we get to have a musical selection by, pardon? Did I forget something? Second helping. We did it already. Didn't we? Yes, we did. Am I okay? Okay, we're going. Okay. Woo!
You could have a third one.
Sharon, please. There's going to be a third offering, but it's going to Sharon. Okay? Okay, now we're going to have our next musical selection, and this is by the UUFCC Choir, and this was in the Gray Hymnal, and it was selection 146, and the name of the tune is Soon the Day Will Arrive. Okay.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will roll in. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make the bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
choir, great choir. Okay, my closing words are by Garth Brooks and his song, We Belong to Each Other. Ain't no wall can divide us, no matter how high. Ain't no storm can untie us, for all it may try. We're all leaves on the same tree, under one sky. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. We belong to each other. We are sister and brother, born to love one another. It's whispered by the wind to all living things. It's in every sunrise. It's what the wild birds sing. It shines newborn eyes, faces lined in mourn. It's the tie that binds us, and it won't be torn. We belong to each other. We are sister and brother, born to love one another. We are ancient stars turned flesh and bone. We're all travelers on a bus ride home. Yea, we laugh and we cry. We rise and we fall. We're all leaves on the same tree, waves on the same sea. You and me belong to each other. Now we can extinguish the chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. Alan, would you please unlight the chalice? Okay, now it's time to wake up your phones and wake up, now that you've been all sleeping while I'm here. Okay, so now we're going to do the recording of Go Now in Peace. And please exit by the back door or the front door. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the Spirit of us surround you every